Hello, my name is Father Demetri. I'm here in Lakeland, Florida. Today I'm going to continue with Matthew 5:27 and 28. You have heard what it was said to those of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust after her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. This is a really tough one for most guys, especially with today, the ease of pornography and different ways that you can attract the attention of our eyes. There's so many guys that fight with it. It's called every man's war for a reason. And because of those things, we often fight and battle and struggle to even consider looking at another woman. I've been married now for going on almost 10 years, and it has been a challenge every step of the way to keep my mind focused on purity. I struggle with it. I struggle with the things of the earth. I struggle with the things of this world. And in Colossians, it does tell us that you set your mind on the things above and not on the things of the earth. And it is hard to train your mind. It is hard to make your mind be precise in what you're wanting to do. I love my wife. I love her very dearly, and I try very hard to consider her only in all my thoughts, especially when it comes with the matters of love and affection. And we need to remember that where our hearts are, where our mind is, that's where our attention is going to be. We need to look towards the Lord when we are battling and struggling with these type of things. I know the closer I get to God, the closer I get to my Lord, the more I learn how to love Him, the more I learn how to love my wife. I learn how to love her with a more deeper appreciation and a sincerity of heart. I look to her for all my wants and my desires and my needs, and especially for this fleshly side of me. I'm glad I'm married. I'm glad that I'm with somebody, and I'm glad that I have somebody in my life. And one of those things that I work on with my life is trying to be pure of heart and pure of mind. And Jesus, when He tells us that even if we look at another woman that we're committing adultery, that's a tough one. That's a tough thing, because it's so easy now when you're watching a television show or you're watching a series, especially on some of the more explicit channels, that sometimes they have such explicit scenes that it's easy for you to draw yourself off and lust after it. So oftentimes I have found myself just turning it off or changing the channel. I found myself just trying to steer away from even getting myself tempted in doing those things. I want my heart to be clean and pure. I want my heart to think of only my wife when it comes to the desires of marriage. I think oftentimes about my hero, King David, that he saw Bathsheba across the courtyard, and when he saw her, if he would have just turned away, things would have been over. But every day he would go out and he would look at her and he would lust after her. He would desire her. And that desire just kept on growing bigger and bigger and bigger until finally he invited her over. And of course, being with the king was exciting. He ended up having a child with her, and if you've read the scriptures, I hope that you read the scriptures, you can get the whole story. But because of that act of committing adultery, because of that act of even desiring her the first time, King David was severely punished because of what God had entrusted him as king. As king, as somebody in a role of leadership, he was supposed to be the pinnacle of the belief in God. And so as too with the priest and some of the clergy, I know today many clergy have been brought to their knees by committing adultery or pornography and different things. And I think that if we really set our minds to the thing above and not on the earth, we will be able to be victorious in our struggle with this thing that's within us that brings us to commit adultery or to cheat. So And I think it actually goes above and beyond even adultery. Where our mind is, it's very important for us to keep focused on God, to keep focused on Christ. We need to keep focused on the good things and the purity of things. And again, like I said, it has a lot more to do with just adultery, because lusting after a woman can become idolatry, and lusting after somebody can become idolatry. And I think that we need to just ask God to help us train our mind, ask the Holy Spirit to guide us and to open our hearts and minds, that we can learn to love our spouse like we should. If we learned how to love our spouse and learned what it truly meant to be a martyr for each other, there wouldn't be so many divorces. And many times divorces are always because the beginning of a relationship is sometimes based on sexual desire and satisfaction. When that starts to fade, you want that from somebody else. So we need to really understand what it means to love, what it means to want somebody, and what it means to truly be in love with somebody in a marriage. So may the Lord bless you, protect you, and keep you safe always. Have courage and fear not. The Lord our God is still in control. Be blessed.